Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Lina. I'm so glad that the Global AI Conference is back. I remember like 3 years ago, you invited me to give a talk in Seattle. The conference that's also AI, Global AI Conference, in-person format. I was talking about AI use cases in retail. Because at that time I was working for Starbucks in their headquarters, so I did a lot of work in the retail industry. Today, I'm going to talk about AI use cases in telecom, a totally different vertical. First of all, let me just briefly introduce myself. Currently, I'm a director at Ericsson. I'm running a T-Mobile program for T-Mobile. And for those of you who do not know Ericsson is actually the Swedish global telecom equipment and software company. We have 100,000 employees across the globe, and we have 60,000 patents. We supply all the 5G equipment and software to all the top wireless carriers in the world. So for instance, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, when they say they are 5G network, behind the scenes, Ericsson actually power all those 5G network. And typically 50% of network particular carrier supplied by Ericsson, and the other 50% is supplied by Nokia, Cisco, and Samsung, etc. So we are number one in this 5G network space. I used to work for T-Mobile for 12 years. I worked in a different department, network engineering, IT, and also enterprise program management, where I get exposed to a lot of business functions in T-Mobile. Also, I worked at AT&T for 3 years and did consultation work at Starbucks and Microsoft. And in the early stage of my career, I actually did 3 software startup company. Well, 2 of them got acquired successfully, and then one that failed miserably. There's a story I'd like to share with you. I know that a lot of people here in the audience are doing startup right now. The 3rd startup I did, we invested roughly about $10 million. And we actually got an offer for a major firm to buy us out for $200 million. So that's a very good deal, no-brainer, right? So the CEO asked everyone to come to a room, and they asked everyone to raise their hands if you want to sell the company, and put your hands down if you don't want to sell the company. And everyone raised their hands. And then he asked everyone to put their hands down and said, you guys don't think strategically, because our competitor listed on NASDAQ currently is worth $400 million market cap. So the $200 million deal is not a good deal. We need to wait. So he waited 3 months. The whole market crashed. A lot of company went bankrupt. That was year 2001, during the internet heyday. So lesson learned is that if you do a startup do fail. 90% of startup failed and 10% survive. And my lesson learned from that failure was timing is everything. When you are ready to sell it. And when you're ready to go IPO, go IPO, and don't mix the crucial timing. So just a little bit of story to entertain the audience here. I did my master's degree in computer science. I wrote my thesis in machine learning about 20 years ago. And when I finished the thesis, I came out of grad school. I couldn't find a single AI job, because 20 years ago, AI wasn't that popular at all. I was way ahead. And I found a job with a telephone company in Vancouver, BC, in Canada. That's how I got into telecom. And I learned a lot, and did a lot of work in telecom and software a little bit of retail industry with Starbucks, Microsoft, etc. So good journey for me. So in order to understand telecom AI use cases, we need to understand how a carrier works. What is a carrier's business functions, where the data are, and where you can apply AI to that particular type of scenario. So when I talk about telecom today, I am going to focus on mostly wireless carriers, because wireless carriers are still growing. Wireline carrier currently pretty much there's no growth in a wireline carrier space. For instance, the landline phone that you have, it hasn't changed so much in terms of feature, everything. But cell phone, it's going through a lot of changes, and I think that with AI, all that, the cell phone will become more and more powerful. It basically become a mini robot for you in the future. So for a wireless carrier like T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon, typically there are three business functions. I look at it as three layers of a cake. On the top here, basically customer-facing functions. You'll have customer care. That's where you call in to have conversation with the customer care agent to ask for all kinds of questions. Retail stores, you walk into a T-Mobile store, all the magenta color inside, and all the phones, latest phones, and all the promotion, etc. Those are the retail store. I think T-Mobile have roughly 6,000 or 7,000 retail stores. AT&T, Verizon probably a little bit more, 8,000, something like that. And then all these carriers have e-commerce website. Like in T-Mobile case, T-Mobile.com, AT&T, AT&T.com, etc. That's where, as a subscriber to a phone service, you can go in there to buy phones and buy rate plans, etc. And then let's say that you called in for customer care, and you started to talk to a customer care agent. The customer care want to activate your line, your phone, your service. Then the customer care will typically send the information down to all the IT system. In a phone company, the IT systems typically called BSS, and that's one group of IT system, and then OSS, the different group of IT system. BSS stands for Business Support System. It basically deal with the order management, billing, CRM, etc. And then the OSS stands for Operation Support System. It basically deal with a lot of provisioning to network, activate your phone, make sure your number, your plan, all activated in the network. So at the bottom layer is the typically is at this time right now it's a 5G network, right? So I'm showing 4G network here, but the whole idea is the same. You got cell tower, you got the you call in, and your signal go to cell tower. Cell tower will call the traffic to a backend server, and then do all the processing, and then connect you to other caller. So the key difference between a carrier's infrastructure and the other enterprises like Starbucks, retail, bank, all those different Fortune 500 company, is that the phone company has a more complex infrastructure. The network layer, that's the big difference. Most retail companies like Starbucks only have the top IT system, customer-facing layer. There's no network, so relatively speaking, a little bit simpler. Same as banks, the insurance companies, all those things. Okay, so that's a three layer of a cake in terms of business function of a carrier. So I'm going to focus on each layer and talk about the AI use cases for each layer. Okay. The low-hanging fruit for AI application in carrier space is actually customer care. All those phone companies nowadays have an AI tool. So this is the picture that's showing T-Mobile. This is actually a real picture showing T-Mobile customer care center. The customer care rep is talking to a customer, and when he's talking to a customer, he also look at his computer screen, and the AI tool basically is built to get all the historical typical chat data for different common scenarios. And also, it also has the knowledge about answer to standard questions, like when customer call in to pay a bill. That's a very common scenario. What kind of standard answers you need to give to the customer, and what kind of procedure you need to do. So imagine that a customer care rep is dealing with hundreds of customers a day. So the person need to be able to switch their contacts very quickly, right? You can get very disoriented. Actually, customer care department is the most stressful department in terms of working, because a lot of time you have to work with so many different callers, and sometimes customer can yell at you if you are not providing the right answers, right? So it's important to have an AI tool there to prompt the customer agent. In this case, for instance, the AI tool pick up the conversation on the customer, maybe talking about bill payment, or customer maybe talking about adding a line, basically adding a phone number to your account, right? And then here's the procedure, the script. I'm going to show you. You need to talk about the customer account, and then you need to ask the customer permission to see their account, and then get their credit card to pay the bill, etc., etc. So that agent basically assisted by the AI tool to be able to communicate with the customer agent effectively at a very small, in a very short time. So relevant of the content showing to the agent, that's the key. Now, we all talk about ChatGPT. I think that I can predict in 1 year or two, ChatGPT will be used by all these phone companies, because ChatGPT, to me, particularly 4.0, I've been playing with that. It's very powerful. It's like a super human, and it can pick up conversation, textual description, and find out the logic there, and tell you what the real meaning, that the intelligence in the conversation. And that, I think, that's going to be a very powerful tool for the customer care to use. The next AI use case will be in the IT area. I'm talking about the second layer here now, the BSS OS layer. So the most common problem in the carriers world is what they call order fallout. A lot of time, these BSS OS system, multi-vendor systems, have anywhere from 140 application to 200 applications, and designed by all different type of vendors, right? And a carrier, they don't typically make their own software. They purchase software from established software companies and integrate them all together. So from system to systems, when the transaction flow from system A to B, C, D, because they all come from different vendors, sometimes the transaction can get stuck somewhere. For instance, like a downstream system is very busy somehow, and the upstream system will send a bunch of orders transaction down, and it'll get stuck there. And somehow it try a few times, the upstream system may drop the transaction. So this is called order fallout. AI tool is going to be very useful, and is very useful right now, helping the carrier to look at the transactions of all these within all these hundreds of systems and able to detect anomaly. For instance, like one system had suddenly have a lot of transactions piled up, so you know that there's something goes wrong with it. And even better is that the AI systems can predict where the problem is and allow the the operator to solve it proactively. There are a lot of use cases done in these top 3 phone companies. The order fallout now actually dropped to less than 1%, 0 something. So AI is very useful here. Now I'm going to talk about the third layer, the network layer. Let me see here. So I'm talking about the network layer right now. What are the common AI use cases? And this one probably the for carrier, they can get the biggest bang for the buck to use AI, add value to their network operation. Okay, all these carrier, the thing that they're most afraid of, their fear is network outage. When you have a network outage, there'll be millions of customers cannot make their phone calls and cannot browse the internet, and your company name will show up on the CNN, any social media negatively, really impact your reputation. So the biggest thing is to make sure that you will never have an outage, right? Outage does happen. That's why all these phone companies, why the carriers, they have the NOC, Network Operation Center. So this screen here actually showing a Network Operation Center with all the operators here looking at the screen. As you can see, there's a lot of alarms, a lot of different color-coded indicators. You can get easily overwhelmed. And because of volumes of data, each carrier all have, roughly 100 million subscribers. And you just talk about all the phone traffic coming in. It's impossible for a human to detect all the problems in a network. So AI tool is very useful. It allows the operator in NOC to look at the normal scenarios. In the old days, typically before AI, all these carriers, they use what they call network management system to look at alarms, look at the traffic, and try to react to those. Now the AI tool, the beauty of AI tool is that it can detect anomalies proactively and predict, oh, there's a traffic jam in particular area, so I need to route the traffic to a different backup nodes, backup network elements, all that, and clear the traffic here and there. So it's a little bit like a traffic cop, looking at the real-time information to solve the problem proactively. And the result is that by using AI tool, you can improve the incident mean time to detect, MTTD, and this is a very key metric that the carrier use. Basically, you want to quickly detect a problem and quickly resolve the problem, MTTR, mean time to resolution. The biggest goal is to avoid outage, so huge value here. This is probably the most important use case of AI for AI in a carrier domain. Next one here is the predicted maintenance. Carrier have a lot of cell towers, and a cell tower in this picture, for instance, on the top, typically you have 3 antennas, and then you get all the signal and convert them to IP traffic down. And there are a lot of boxes here, and the base station are inside the small building there. And all those equipments, right? They have the log, and it has the diagnostics traffic there, and the AI tool basically look at all the log and try to predict when the equipment gonna fail. So the cell phone companies equipment, just like your microwave, refrigerator you have at home, right? They all have limited lifespan and it can fail for no reason, right? The battery can die or something like that. So it's important to use an AI tool to detect the possible failure ahead of time and proactively sending a work crew out to a site and replace the battery or replace the entire equipment, all that to prevent downtime, because you cannot have downtime. Again, if one cell site go down, the whole area will not have any service. So this is also very important too. Now, fraud detection. An AI tool is actually a godsend to combat fraud. Just like credit card company, when you spend a large amount of money and you get a call from a credit card company and check with you whether you actually buy something. The telephone company pretty much works the same. There's a thing called robot calls, basically robot calls, right? And the AI tool can look at the voice traffic and look at the pattern. There's a call originated for a single source, but it tried to hit millions of subscribers, and with a very short duration call, typically advertise something to you, right? So it's very annoying, bad customer experience. So Anish, the previous speaker, talked about customer experience. I totally with him. And by reducing scam calls, robot calls, frauds, all that thing, carrier will have better service, better experience for the subscribers, their customers. The last use case in telecom is the AI used to detect the weather changes. So in this picture, for instance, there's a hurricane and it can knock down the cell tower. And if your cell tower get knocked down, the phone companies, this is actually T-Mobile truck, the real one, they can actually send out the mobile tower to the area. So they temporarily, the customer in that area can still get service while they try to repair the cell tower. So it's very important for carrier to look at weather data. Some company, they actually connect their internal data, connect their system to external data source like National Lab, Argonne National Lab. It has a lot of weather data, current weather data and future prediction, all that. We're gonna have storm, we're gonna have flood, where the sea level rises, etc. And with a large amount of data, you can have what they call climate change analysis. So you know that, okay, the hurricane is coming. I need to get the maybe 20 trucks out there because those cell tower will be in danger. So you can set up the emergency response team to deal with that emergent situation. So that's also very useful in terms of customer experience, because in a disaster situation, people need to connect with their family, friends more, right? So back to Anisha, customer experience talk, this is huge for customer experience. In conclusion, I love the American saying like there's a will, there's a way. And in AI and the telecom world, I mean, in generally speaking, in the AI world, is that there's data, there's AI. And in business world, we always say that follow the money and you will know how the business works, right? So my interpretation in AI world is that we need to follow the data to find use cases. Once you look at, just like how I look at all these the 3 layers of the cake of a carrier's business functions, and you look at where the data are, and you can find use cases where you can use AI to extract economic value from the data. Here's my contact information. Email dan.mo at ericsson.com, and I also have LinkedIn. If you search my name, although my name is so short, I get not too many demos on LinkedIn, so you can find me easily. Okay, that's end of my talk.